See, we posted some of the performance tuning videos for Snowflake. Now, one important thing is query profiling. Let us look at this aspect. But before that, become a cloud kernel or cloud ninja member by paying a very small premium. You can join and become this member, gain access to a lot of questions, a lot of informative content. Whether you are preparing for certification or preparing for interviews, it will help you. See, you may be already working on projects of nature of cloud, or you want to move in that area. This will help you with all those information. If you are not yet subscribed, do so. It will help you with Azure, AWS, Google Cloud certifications, and interview preparation. These three things are very important when we do query profiling. As a developer, we all should do query profiling so that don't wait for a system to go to production and then it gives performance issues and then you take a reactive step. No, you as a developer, architect, designer should spend time in tuning your queries for performance. So how you can do that? First look at execution time, how much time it spends, the overall query, and within that overall query, what there are different stages, how much time it took in each stage. Then you can identify if there are any bottlenecks. See, this is also a step of benchmarking where we try to say, okay, simple queries for this kind of system, this kind of volume, it should take, say, for example, 20 seconds, medium complexity, maybe a minute, highly complex, maybe 1 to 2 minutes. Now, next thing that is important in query profiling is rows produced. Like, are you scanning 1 million records to produce 10 records? That is a question you have to ask. Or are you scanning 1 million records to produce half a million records? Byte scan, data volume process. This is important because in order to get at 10 records, are you processing 1 million records? So is that the most efficient way? You have to think about it. And then there are other things like compression ratio, which is like important. Why? Because higher the compression, the more improvement of performance because you can cache more data. Compression ratio, you can cache more data. You can cache more data. Compression will help you cache more data. Okay, once you look at these things, how do you know there are performance bottlenecks? See, if the execution time is high, so you have to look for nodes consuming significant portion of the query time. Which node is the culprit here? There may be different nodes, 4 or 5 nodes. Which node is the culprit? Then you look at which node is doing a high byte scan. Okay, that maybe it may indicate that this guy is inefficient in data accessing or there are excessive data movements happening. So you have to understand there may be genuine scenarios for data movement, excessive data movement, or it may be just an inefficient way of writing the query. So you may have to revisit the query. And spillage to disk, it should not happen. Okay, this is one thing which we always say in Snowflake. Your queries, the data should not spill. No, so spillage we have to avoid. Okay, spillage is a bad thing. So you have to optimize this. So how to optimize it? You can include scalability. So that can help you resolve this spilling issues. It will give more resources. You can think of using data distribution like partitioning and clustering. These two are very useful. You can pause this and read it. You can create micro partitions also because micro partitions they are derived automatically and it is columnar in nature. So anything columnar is a very good thing nowadays. Okay. So this we spoke about how to avoid spillage to disk. Then you have to understand, you have to go and check the stages scanning. Is it making use of index or not? It's just like your index on your textbook. It helps you search things. Here also we should add index. This is one thing. Then is it making use of clustering keys or clustered tables? This has to be used. So that is you select like 2 or 3 fields and together it will be kept in a single location in a table, and most likely in the same micro partition. These filters, you should be very cautious. You should use a high order filter and with a lambda expression. Then you have to see your joins are good. Unnecessarily do not join with different tables, and the table against which you are joining, does it have index or cluster keys? You have to check. Then aggregation, do not do unnecessary aggregation. Like group by is the most expensive operation and having also. So avoid using it. If you still have to use it, that is perfectly okay. But make use a caution there. See, aggregation policy you can create. Once you create that policy, we call it aggregation constraint. Okay, you can pause and read this. And order by operations is important. Sorting operations. So use it with your select queries. This is important. So if the data is well ordered in ascending or descending order, then it is easier, less load on compute to read the data. Performance becomes good. Okay, so we understood what we should look for in the query stages. This is all a part of query profiling. Now, is the data access optimized or not? So if you are making use, I'll not reiterate, if you're making use of clustering keys, indexing, data compression, okay, and caching, then you are good. If you compress the data, more data can fit in cache. What is cache? It is also called memory. So Snowflake processes lot of data in memory. That is why Snowflake gives good performance because of this in memory architecture. There are three layers you all know in the architecture: service layer, compute layer, storage layer. See the cache layers also, you have these three layers: result cache, local disk cache, remote disk. This is for long term, and local disk cache used by SQL queries, and result cache, it holds results of every query executed in 24 hours. Imagine the size of cache. This is explained here. These are different caching layers. That is why Snowflake is very highly performant. See, simple things you as a developer can do. Do not use unnecessary calculations just because you are using a template or copying from a template which use a lot of calculations. It's not a good practice. If possible, pre-calculate and keep it in a table, add a new field, and avoid redundant operations in the cell in the queries. Use selective filters so that the data that is scanned is reduced. Consider the join order, because see, you join A with B and B with C, the order matters. If you do B with A, and that will have performance impact. And CTEs you should use for subqueries. What is CTE? It is called common table expression. This you should use. See, it is named subquery defined with a with clause. This is an example of a CTE. Instead of subquery, nowadays people use CTE, not subquery. Okay, don't use subquery. Use CTE. Don't use subquery. Use CTE. Okay, we got it from the query perspective. What we got to do from the resource perspective? Warehouse first is do a proper sizing. You have to do warehouse. Okay, if you think your load is increasing, increase the size and scale up or scale out. See, you scaled up, you are just using Mickey Mouse SQL queries. What's the use? Scale out and schedule your queries. So optimize execution time by scheduling workloads off peak. See, during peak hours, if you are forcing your query, it will impact your performance. So how to schedule using tasks? Use it to schedule off-peak hours. You can create a task flow after this script, what else would run, and etc. You can do all of those things. If you have not yet subscribed, do so. It will help you with a lot of concepts, understanding the concepts around cloud technologies, and become a cloud kernel or cloud ninja member. A lot of such informative contents will be put there. We already have so many contents there which will help you with certification. So in this part we looked at a detailed solution to perform tuning of Snowflake. Like we were focusing on query profiling here. Now use it for your interviews, because in the interviews people ask questions such as this. If you have gone through this part, you will totally be understanding how to crack the Snowflake interviews. It is not only about cracking such that people are more inclined to pay you more. You become very competitive in the market. You can bargain with the employers. So see you in the next part.